Hello everyone. In this session, we are going to talk about the different case studies that we will be doing the couple of upcoming sessions. First, we will be doing a case study on the Swiggy dummy data. Then we'll be taking a look at the case study on the Netflix dataset. Before starting these case studies, let's talk about the bit process that are involved before starting any case study and what is the particular approach that we take. Now, before starting any project or case study, the first thing to think about is the objective. What is the objective of your case study? Or what is the thing that you want to achieve with the help of this case study. This part is very important as sometimes you can get a data with a lot of features and looking at all these features can be very confusing. So it is very important for you so that you frame your objective well and it would be very easy for you to focus on the specific part of your data. Second point is preparing your data. Now, preparation of data means that before you are making any kind of visual with the help of your data, you should verify and make sure that it doesn't have any kind of null value, wrong data type, missing values, or any outliers which can make your visuals go wrong. Now, this part is very important. We have already seen the different steps that we can perform in the Tableau prep to clean our data, and the Tableau prep can also be used with the help of that we can produce some output, and that output can be then brought in your Tableau product or any other BI tool to do some further analysis. Then the next part is when the output file is then generated, you need to connect it with the Tableau and then maybe you are creating some visuals, and before those visuals sometimes there is a time where you have to create some relationships or some joins. This would help us create some better reports when you are creating some joins or relationship between multiple sheets. At that time you are easily able to identify data in different parts. Now whenever you are doing these case studies, there are also some more important things, like for example I already talked about the approach and the data cleaning part, but this approach part, when we are doing this and we are trying to reach our prime objective with the help of that approach that we are taking. It helps us to understand our data better and it also helps us to find the business approach in a better way. So what we will do is we will go to the Tableau screen directly and we are seeing that what are the different case studies that we'll be doing over here. So these were the two basic steps that went. The first one is you have to define the objective. The second one is you have to clean the data and make sure everything is clear over there. Then you will be going with the approach. So if we talk about the approach that we take, sometimes it is very important because let's say your objective was to make a better customer dashboard. So basically, whenever a customer is coming, you need a better dashboard for them and they can easily interact with that dashboard and then they can find some meaningful information out of that. Let's say the first few dashboards that we will be making, the first one is for the Netflix data. Then we have the Swiggy data as well. So if we talk about the Netflix data, in that case, we were having some data in which there were the movie titles of various years, which were then released on the Netflix. So in that, there were multiple information that were present. For example, the country in which the movies were there, whether that particular title was a movie or was it a TV show, when was it released on Netflix, whether it was a documentary, stand-up comedy, drama, and what was the overall movies that were released in a specific year. So what we try to do is first that data source that we had those informations. Then we thought that let's try to use that information and create some independent graphs for them. So we try to create the total movies and TV shows in a year. We try to create the country-wise distribution of those movies, the genres which were famous, the distribution of these movies and TV shows in the entire data set, and other things as well. For example, the rating, the description of the movies, the data on which it was added, and we created a simple dashboard. So we try to make it very interactive for the users. So first, the user would come over here in the type and they will select that whether they want to go with the movies or whether they want to go with the TV shows. After they choose their desired input, then they will be given this information like what is the title of the movie that you want to go with. For example, if they want to go with Three Idiots, the next part is that it should show the description of the movie. Then we would be also creating some other visuals over here where it would show the release year, the date on which when it was added on the Netflix, and what is the particular genre of that movie. So we'll be creating all these things. So what I'll do is I will again share my screen and show you that dashboard. So we have this dashboard. So we will create some dashboard which would look like this. So after you have selected your movie title, the information would be changing over here. So you can see the information is now changing. So now what is the particular problem that we are solving. The thing is that let's say a user comes in over here and they are not able to decide which movie they want to watch. They don't want to see it based on the suggestions. They want to see some basic information of that. So they can come over here, select their desired title, and then it would show all the relevant information related to that. And since it is also showing the description, they would be easily able to identify whether they would like to invest their time in it or not. And it is also showing the genre. So if they like that particular genre, it would be fine for them to watch it. Then they can also see the release here. If it's a pretty old movie, maybe it would not interest them. It is a new movie, maybe it might interest them. So they would be pretty much attracted to that movie, and it would be most likely that they would see that. So this is the way in which we will be trying to create a dashboard. Now, the next dashboard that we'll be creating. So over here, we'll be having the Swiggy data, and we will try to find out. Suppose if we talk about the data over here, Swiggy is basically a food delivery app. So obviously it would be having some restaurant listings and the city in which they are located, the country in which they are located, as well as some of the other information like whether it serves online or not, what is the cost for two persons, what is the rating of that particular restaurant. Based on all these values, what we did was we tried to create a small dashboard and we can solve a small problem for the users. Like for example, if any user is there and if they want to visit a particular restaurant in a specific country, in a specific city, they would be able to see the count of the restaurants in that city. And if they select any restaurant, so that the user can then see the rating of that restaurant and what is the famous product in that restaurant, what is the famous cuisine in that restaurant. So we'll be creating some dashboards and we'll be using these small visuals to create those dashboards. We'll be also creating some filters with the help of which the user can easily interact with those dashboards. So this is a sample one. The final one that we'll be creating would be the case studies. So here the user would be having some different filters on the basis of which they can interact. So let's say if the user wants to find the number of restaurants in India. So they will choose India, and then you can see these numbers are changing and our graphs is also changing. Then they just want to go with a specific city. They also will have the option to go with a specific city. They can also choose whether the option is allowing them deliver their food online or not. So if they are allowing the online delivery, they can choose yes option, and you can see this list is now decreasing. So based on all the filters, whatever values will be matching, then they would be easily able to identify which restaurant they want to visit and what is the famous cuisine in that restaurant. So all these things we will be doing in the case study. These case studies would help you to interact with the real world data sets and then solve some business problems. So let's meet in the next session where we will be talking about the Swiggy dataset, and after that we'll be talking about the Netflix dataset. Thank you.